Hey, Cleaning Nation, Mike Campion here with one of our favorite people, Coach Jenell Newell. Not only is she great, her name's fun to say. Feel free to put on pause and say Jenell Newell right out loud. It's a blast. Aside from having a great name and a great personality, Janelle spends time with our clients. My job is predominantly what to do and how to do it, the blocking and tackling in specifics. Suzanne and Janelle's job, I hate to say this out loud in front of a microphone, but in truth, I feel is the more important job of building business owners into, million or multi-million dollar business owners, right? Like the what to do and how to do, the blocking and tackling is important. But if you don't have the who you are and how you look at things and how to show up, I don't want to say it's worthless, but boy, is it hard if you're not the right person, what to do and how to do it just isn't going to get you there. And if you are the right person, you look at business the right way, boy, can that what to do and how to do really supercharge that. So that said, Janelle and Suzanne combined probably spend more time with our clients than I do. So she's up. She's got things to share based on all of what our clients are kind of going through and how they're winning and losing. And I can't wait to not only hear it, but share it with you. Jenell Newell.
Hey, yeah. And I have a kind of a timely topic because this was a conversation I had with one of our clients just recently, right? So I'm going to lead you in with a story, and then I'm going to tell you how I apply this story to business, because this is really this was foundational when I started getting into coaching, when I made this connection. So my grandmother taught me to do dishes. We all do dishes. We have dishes. Now we have dishwashers, but she did them by hand. And so she taught me, you do the dishes according to how close they are to your mouth, right? So you start with silverware because it goes in your mouth, and then you go to glasses because that touches your mouth, and then you go to the plates because the fork that goes in your mouth goes on the plate, and you end up way out at the pots and pans.
Interesting.
So when I think about that exercise, right, that lesson that my grandmother taught me, it was a life lesson. We have to start with the things that are closest to us, the things that feed us first. And in business, what feeds our business first is sales. It's sales. And so what happens is I'm talking to clients and I'm watching people, all over the internet, and they're so distracted by these, I got to have this process. I got to have this employee handbook. I got to have this, this system in place. And they're trying to do the pots in their business first, right? Point. And so they're not paying attention to, wait a minute, I have to actually have sales. I actually have to have people on the front line, those processes and those, I call them distractions, the back end, do I have the right CRM? All of that comes way after. Do I have the clients? Am I serving the clients? Are they happy? Right? Am I having those regular sales conversations? Am I getting in front of people? We got to do the things that feed the business and get into the mouth first. And then you get to the other stuff. And if you put that dirty pot in the water with your silverware, now it's just now you're just muddy. Essentially, you got spaghetti sauce all over everything and you're working twice as hard. And that's the other thing, right? You do one thing at a time. Make sure that you're filling yourself, that you're eating and that you're getting the sales, and that you know how to do that and you've mastered that before you go on to the next thing. You don't try to put them all in the water all at the same time, because then everything is going to have pasta sauce on it and you're going to be working twice as hard to get it clean.
I couldn't agree more. The time I see this most clearly is when people are just starting, believe it or not, which makes the least sense, right? Like obviously if you're already, I'll give two examples of this that are not great. One is when you're just starting, which is the most obvious time you need sales, right? Because if you already have sales, it's one of the beautiful things about the cleaning business. If you do it the way we coach, predominantly, if not all of your clients are going to be recurring. So you do have the advantage of I can sell for a little while and then I don't have to keep selling because my business should continue to maintain, not forever, clients at some point are going to churn and leave, but you can take a month off from selling. Not a great idea, but certainly possible. When you're just starting, nothing happens until somebody makes a sale. Like we're just playing business. Like, when you're kids, you play house or something, like, I'm the mommy and you're the dad, whatever the case, like, but everyone knows we're just kidding. Like, it's not a real family. That's what it is. It's like, well, I've got my workers' comp insurance and I'm working on a website and, I picked up my office furniture and this logo is pretty solid. And I've got my business, like anything to avoid doing the god dang work of nothing happens until somebody makes a gosh darn sale. So at the beginning, it's super caustic. The second example I want to give you is when I sold my first 7-figure business or my first 7-figure sale. And I watched the guy and I told him when he bought the business, there was like $2 million in receivables, not receivable, but work in progress. It was a construction company. So there was money happening. And I told him it's a very long sales process, right? Like you might work on helping someone put together a bid that's going to go out for bid in 3 months, that is going to get bid in 4 months, that the project will start in 6 months, that your part of the project, because we're kind of at the end, might start in 1.5 years, and you might get done in 2 years, and then you might get paid in 2 years. Like it was a long gosh darn process. And he was so uptight about exactly what Janelle said. I got to figure the logo and I got to get systems and processes and I got to systematize all this stuff. And I'm like, dude, you can play house however long you want or play business. But at the end of the day, you're going to realize at some point you need a sale. And at that point, you're going to run around like, when's the best time to plant a tree? Well, about 20 years ago. When's the second best time? Right now. But if you need some shade now, planting a tree now ain't going to do any good. And I could just see him like, you're going to get desperate for sales and you're going to go start selling and realize, holy heck, this is a long process. I need sales now. And it's like, well, you should have started 6 months ago when I was screaming at you. So why? I guess the big question I want to ask is, why do people do that? Because I think when we're saying it, no one's arguing and like, no, you don't need sales. That's bullcrap. Like everybody gets it. Yet we're having this podcast, not because, everyone gets it and is making sales. They focus on other stuff. How do we help people that are having that disconnect? Like, why do you think they don't do it? And how can we help them reprioritize it in a way that's effective for their business?
Well, I do think that there's a huge level of distraction. I'm going to call it distraction, especially on social media. And they're trying to sell you, your back end system. And they're trying to convince you that you have to have this piece and that piece. And, look at all of the shiny objects out here to distract, right? And all of those things are in some ways more fun or easier than confronting, like, I just gotta stay here, right? Like, yep, washing the pots may sound more interesting. You just gotta stay focused and in your lane and constantly be reminding yourself, right? You gotta, this little story about doing the dishes, I cannot tell you how often I had to replay that when I was a beginning coach, right? Because you get distracted and that stuff seems so much easier sometimes to us. And so it's that having something that constantly reminds you, come back, come back, come back. And also, once you master the sales piece, then you go to the next piece, right? So once you get those recurring clients and that sales, the sales are coming and you know how to do it and it's feeling easy, then you go to fix the next thing, right? You move through the progression. But especially when we're playing at it, we so want to be already at the end. We want to skip those steps, and we've got these people telling us like, oh, just skip to this step and let me help you create an employee handbook. And you think, yeah, that's it. And it's just a distraction, right? And so we always have to come back to that core of like, no. Actually, what do I need to be doing right now? Like, what's the biggest hole in the boat? Do I need to be doing the silverware? and I'm over here being distracted.
It's like a baby who needs its diaper changed, and we're like, I want to play with the baby. Like, yeah, I get it. It's a lot more fun to play with the baby than change the diaper. But if you want the baby to be healthy, you got to do what the baby needs, not what you want to do. And I think this is Dan Kennedy. I don't want to steal it, but I think that's where I heard it. If you treat your business like a hobby, it will cost you like a hobby. If you treat your business like a business, it will pay like a business. So of course it's more fun to spend money on things. And there are plenty of marketers that will tell you, you got to spend money to make money. And I'm not saying there's no truth in that, but it's so much easier and more fun to play with your baby, to spend money and buy things than it is to clean the diaper, which is asking other people for money, which we don't always want to do. So I do think I've observed there is this emotional, and I've lived. So I'm sure Janelle would admit the same thing. Like, please don't hear us going, we are perfect at this. We always do the right thing all the time. It's like, no, I've made this mistake lots of times. That's why I feel so emphatically about it. We want to kind of solve our emotional needs with the business. And it's like, which is fine. But if my emotional needs are solved and I'm living outdoors because I don't have any money, that's going to kind of take precedent. So I've seen that so consistently. Yeah, I guess the big thing I wanted to say, if you treat your business like a business, it'll pay like one. If you treat it like a hobby, it's going to cost like a hobby. So how do we make that shift from, okay, this makes sense, I don't like hearing it, but I think a lot of people are just going to keep doing what they've been doing, to like, all right, I know I need this. And, a lot of us feel like sales is scary, or I'm not comfortable with it. And again, it's always easier to ask to give someone money than to ask for money. But if it's a for-profit endeavor, at some point, we're going to have to ask someone for money. Hey, Clean Nation, Mike Campion here. One of my least favorite things about these podcasts are we found that people love the show and they love the information, but when I talk to you guys in person, stuff doesn't get done. People love the podcast, but they don't take any action. If you'd like to actually implement this and get this done in your world, we have a whole team of people that do exactly that. If you go to growmycleaningcompany.com/talk, you can book a time with either myself personally or one of our teammates to at least help you come up with a plan to actually implement and change your life. So if you want to go from getting these good ideas in your head to getting them in your life, just book a free call with myself or my team, growmycleaningcompany.com/talk, and we can go from this one-to-many format to one-to-one and really get you some results. Excited to talk.
So you said something really critical, I think, and I hope people caught that. You said if they're taking care of their emotional needs with their business, that's absolutely what we do with hobbies, right? If we are trying to fill ourselves and our emotional needs by feeling good, by having this thing and not doing the things we're uncomfortable for, which is called for by owning a business, right? So you have to be willing to, okay, I'm going to have this baby. I'm going to have to change the diapers. Right. This is really getting in there, and I'm gonna be serious about this.
And we've seen, even without babies, with older kids, parents who are filling their emotional needs with their kids. And it's like, the kid needs you to be the parent, not the like I love him and I want him to make me or her to make me feel a certain way. It's like, that's not the parental role. Like, friends can do that. There are relationships that's appropriate, but in this relationship, your job is to do what they need. And we all inherently get that cringe when we see a parent trying to get their needs filled by the kid as opposed to filling the kid's needs, but then we go do it on our business. Sorry, I thought it was so much more appropriate with an older kid than with the baby. Please continue.
But that's exactly it. And so it takes someone being willing to kind of like, okay, no, I'm really committed to having this be a business and being willing to have that business make money and do the things that you don't necessarily always want to do or feel like doing in order for it to be a business and not that hobby, emotional, feel-good thing. I'm going to use this program, right? So the people that come in to this program, we get people who already have businesses and they want to just make it all better and grow exponentially, right? We get those. And we also get people who like, I'm really struggling, and they come in and they realize that they've been treating their business like a hobby. They want to feel good and say, oh, I'm a business owner. And a lot of them are cleaning their work. They built themselves a job kind of to feel good and feel like they have this freedom. But then they realize, oh, yeah, I'm letting the kid run the show here. And really, I need to run the show. Right. So by, those people come in because before they even get in here, right? Before they even hop on the phone with you, they've been listening to the podcast and they've realized like, okay, it's time. I'm ready. I'm making a commitment. I'm making a commitment to myself to do this. I'm making a commitment to my business, and I'm going to do this. And so, we are here to support them, to give them the support that they need to be able to get through whatever it is that's holding them back to really have those sales conversations in many, many cases, because we have to go out and ask for money. And it's a really common block for people. But the first step is to take a look at it and say, am I really feeding my business first? Am I doing that? Or am I skirting the hard things, right? Am I doing all of the distractions? And I don't know what it is that gets people to that point. I just know that when you get to that point, then there's help.
So what I'm hearing you say, Janelle, is there's really two pieces of this. One is to make a decision about the goal of this whole thing. So maybe what people have had is a unidentified decision of, man, I really was looking at this as a way to meet my emotional needs first, not my financial needs first. And again, it's paradoxical because once you meet your financial needs and get into building greater and greater things, it can really meet some pretty substantial emotional needs. But at the beginning, we've got to eat, live indoors, and pay bills and things like that. So step one is really a decision to go, the goal isn't to enjoy. Yes, would I like to enjoy the process of cleaning these dishes? I would. But ultimately, the goal is to get the dishes clean first, then to enjoy the process. So if doing the pots first might make me feel better, well, but that's not the goal. The goal is to get the thing clean. So first and foremost, what I hear you saying is recognize the distinction of, is this a business or is it a hobby? Is it primarily to make me feel good, which is fine. There's lots of people that have lifestyle businesses. They're like, I just want this thing. And, maybe I'm financially independent, or maybe I don't need the money, or maybe money's secondary. That's fine. So I'm not saying like judging, like you have to do it a certain way. It's just, I think a lot of people need their business to be a business and pay like a business, but they don't treat it like that. So step one is making a line in the sand decision of, okay, I didn't have this child to fill my emotional needs. I had this child to give him or her what he or she needs to be an adult and propagate the species and have other kids and all that. And at some point, am I going to feel good and get some emotional wins and enjoy the company? Of course. But that's not the primary deal. That's the primary deal is, I'm here for this kid first. I'm here for this business first. It's going to be healthy. And if in that process, I enjoy parts of it, is that good? Yeah, but that's not the thing. So first is acknowledging it. I think second is shifting your focus. So the focus, I hate to say it, from me, I want to make money. I want to be rich. I want to feel this way. I want to be a big shot and not have to sell or or clean or do accounting or whatever we feel is not beneath us, but whatever, and shift the focus from me to them. What clients am I going to serve? How am I going to make their life better? How am I going to enrich my team's life by being a part of this vision I'm on? And again, paradoxically, it's harder, but that's when we typically get not only the financial rewards, but also the emotional fulfillment we're looking for. It's like when we try and fulfill our own needs, it's tough. When I try to get my 12-year-old to fill my emotional grown man needs, it's probably not going to work. And it's not great for the 12-year-old. When I make it about the 12-year-old and how can I help him or her become the man or woman he needs to be, long-term, that's going to actually fulfill my needs better. And the goal of raising an independent child works. So what I'm hearing, Janelle, is two things. Commit to what you really want, get clear on that, and then shift the focus from I'm going to get what I want to how can I serve other people to get what I want, which paradoxically will get me what I want. Am I making it too complex, or am I picking up what you're laying down?
Yeah, no, that's it, right? Decide Get clear about what you want. And again, there are lots of people who want to keep it just the way it is. That's perfect because they're getting exactly what they want. But if that's not what you want, decide what it is you want, and then go be that business owner. Let's nail this, but start with the needs of the business. And yes, in this industry, the needs of the business is providing great service to as many people as possible, which means you got to get out there. You got to introduce yourself. You got to do the sales in order to be of service.
So, man, I love that. I think I've got a good way to end this because that's just so well said, I don't love the fake it till you make it mindset. I always feel fake or like, I don't like faking because why? Of course I would feel fake if I'm literally in the name, faking it till you make it. So I don't like that. Not saying it shouldn't work or you shouldn't do it or judging. Just for me, I've never found that to be effective. I don't like doing that. It's one of my core values, be real. So I don't want to fake nothing. If I'm young and dumb and full of crap or don't have a lot of money or big business, then I'm just going to be like, I'm young and dumb and have a lot of money and my business is little. That said, what I have found effective in my world is to think through how the person I want to be would make this decision. So let's say I want $1 million business that I can run from anywhere in the world and I'm making $300,000 a year in profit. Well, if that guy found himself in my shoes, what would he do? He'd probably make some gosh darn sales, right? So I'm not faking it. I'm not saying I am him. I'm saying, well, I mean, I'm going to have to be. I'm younger him, right? For him to be older me, I have to be younger him. That's how this relationship works. So I do want to make decisions based on what he would do, and what he wouldn't do is fluff about with a bunch of stuff that's not going to get him closer to that goal, right? And what he would do is take action. If he's not, he's over there like, hey, I'm going to cease to like Back to the Future. Like he went Back to the Future and his picture was, being, deleted because his parents weren't going to get together and he had to kind of fix it. That's where we're at. We're deleting this future $1 million version of ourselves based on the decision we're doing now, or we make decisions that brings him into clarity. So he's going, hey, for me to live, for me to exist, for you to become me, sitting on your butt and futzing around ain't going to get you there. You got to actually do the work. So thinking from that perspective of I'm already there, what would he do if he were in my shoes? Because I'm going to create that future me no matter what. It just, if I want to create that future me as opposed to a different future me, I'm going to have to do those certain things. So if you are in that spot of, you got to be a little honesty, which can be a little brutal. Mm-hmm. The things that I'm doing now are not creating that guy or gal. They're creating a different guy or gal that I don't want to be. And I want to have a different guy or gal in that future. Well, then we know we got to make a different deal. So I would encourage you, advocate for you, beg if I had to, if what you've been doing and what you're doing, in your heart of hearts isn't going to get you where you want to go, do something different. And if that means reaching out to us for help, great. If it means reaching out to someone else for help, great. If it means trying to do it on your own, great. Just know you're going to do something wildly different. The reason we would help is we can give you certainty, and sometimes you need someone else to push you a little bit and just be like, I'm going to fix this all on my own. Almost never works. So pick something different. And guess what? You're like, why? That might fail too. I would rather fail trying something different that could work than fail doing the thing I'm doing now that I know is going to fail. Like gotta guarantee, like there's no guarantees. There's a pretty good guarantee if you keep doing what you've been doing, it ain't going to get better. So take action if you really want to help that new you become, a reality. The today you's got to do something different, and just, I'll gut it out. It's magic. Here's what I hear. I'm just going to keep working. I'll save up some money. I'll hire some people. Things will get like, I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing and I'm going to get a different result, which just never works. So before you go on to the next podcast or the next thing, I know it's easy to kind of listen to a bunch of these in a row. Take a beat, make a decision, go, is my business the thing that I wanted? Do I have the relationship with my business that I want? And if it is, then give yourself a big pat on the back and go listen to a more interesting podcast that's funny, because you don't need this. If it's not getting the result that you want, and this is your 9th podcast you've listened to this week and nothing's changed, well, maybe do something different than listen to a 10th podcast. Take some gosh darn action. Every great thing I've done in life has come from some sort of action I was a little afraid of. And it was outside of my comfort zone for sure. Anything to add before we wrap, Janelle?
Nope. That's it. Make a choice. Take an action.
We could sum up the whole thing. You want the 4-word summary of this podcast? Make a choice, take an action. I think that's more. Make choice, take action. There's your 4 words. Hope to hear from you soon. And if you do, and it was because of this podcast, please let us know. Hey, Janelle was on. I've been the guy or the gal that was not getting what I wanted for weeks or months or God forbid years. And today was the day and I made a choice. Let us celebrate that with you. We're here to support you. Talk soon. See ya. Hey, Cleaning Nation, if you dug the content you just got, we don't do any ads and I don't sell anything on this podcast, but if you would just subscribe, rate, and review, it would be huge and I'd be so appreciative. Not only is it going to help me, but you'll help other owners of cleaning companies across the world work less, make more, and get profitable. So if you appreciate the value we give, again, subscribe, rate, and review. It would mean the world to me. I'd really appreciate it. And we sure appreciate your time and attention.